This is Carson Edwards from the Boston Celtics, and you're listening to the Boiler Breakdown podcast hosted by Tanner Lee, Evan Webb, and Andrew Eiler.
What's up, you guys? Tanner Lee here, along with Evan Webb and Andrew Eiler for another edition of the Boiler Breakdown podcast. Thanks for spending some time with us this evening, whether you're watching live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or listening on your favorite podcast platform. If you happen to be listening on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating and review. That really helps us out, and we appreciate it. Well, guys, for the first time on a podcast since March, we have to recap a Purdue loss. Doesn't feel good.
It's been a good run.
Fortunately, it's a short week, though, because we play Friday night, so it's one less day to think about it.
Absolutely. Great point, Andrew. And we'll get into the specifics. 27-20 loss to the Northwestern Wildcats, who were ranked 23rd at the time. Now they're up to 19th. And Purdue, of course, is still looking to get back in the rankings for the first time since 2007. They would have won Saturday. I think there's a good chance they hop into the rankings, but wasn't meant to be. I know you guys were taking the loss a lot harder than me. and really, and to be fair, I thought Knucklehead Central on Golden Black on the rival site and Boilermaker Nation on Twitter was about as negative as I've seen for a long, long time. Maybe I was too optimistic and positive after a loss. I don't know.
I don't know. I just took that the offense, how bad it looked, as a little discouraging.
Sure.
But then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, the defense played fairly well. Northwestern's defense is good.
Is a good defense, and it made me feel a little better yesterday. I was listening to a college football podcast, and these particular hosts called Northwestern not only the best defense in the Big Ten, they thought right now they're the best defense in the country. I'm like, okay, if that's really true, I feel a little better than I already was.
But I was pissed. I'm still pissed.
I mean, it's understandable. I think with the opportunity that was there for Purdue, and to come out flat, especially, was a little discouraging. But I guess the part that kind of frustrated me, and I'm probably in the minority here, really, as far as being a big fan of this guy's. I thought Aiden O'Connell was getting a lot of criticism that wasn't really earned criticism, really.
He did not look good the first few drives.
Correct. I'm not disagreeing with you there. And I know my biggest thing with him, and everybody knows this, Brom even mentioned in his press conference on Monday, he's not mobile. We know that. And we know Plummer and supposedly Burton are more mobile. We know that. But I thought the wide receivers didn't do much to help him out either the other night.
Mm-hmm. That was mine. I was one of those people who was, calling for Plummer, at least in the second half, just because I was. I mean, again, what you said, Northwestern defense is phenomenal, and our offensive line just was not holding up. It was very apparent in the run game, and the fact that the pocket was collapsing so quickly. I'm not really sure he was going through all of his reads. I mean, he was keen on David Bell, way too much. Which I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, David Bell, he's proven to, make, 50-50 balls more of a, 75-25 type of catch every single time. So why not key on him? But so was Northwestern. I mean, they pretty much, shut him down in terms of what he's been able to do. But just with the way the pocket was collapsing and him not being able to, create with his feet. And I think it just allowed Northwestern, because Northwestern knew that too. And they, I didn't really see a ton of guys, spying on him or going after him, because they could just sit back, because I know he wasn't going to take off, so they could just still sit back in coverage and make it a living hell for 60 minutes.
Yeah, and I guess it's just different from what we've seen from Brom in the past. He usually has a quick leash, and didn't really have it this time, even though he did say he thought about making a switch at one time, but he decided not to.
And there was they came out right before the game. The sideline reporter said that Aiden O'Connell was dealing with an injury, which all of us I don't know what it was, but I mean,
he was limping during the game.
Yeah, he was. He can't run as it is, and that's definitely going to limit him. You could tell. I think a couple times I think when he fumbled it, I think he was going to, and then pulled back. That also kind of makes me. It's like, man, is that just more of an indictment on like Plummer and if O'Connell's hurt and he's still getting the starting job. I mean, I don't know.
I think I was thinking about that. Like, okay, when we started the season, I was like, okay, there's definitely going to be play multiple quarterbacks, even if it's one of them predominantly. He's going to play multiple. We're sitting 3 games in, and O'Connell's the only one who's taken a snap at quarterback.
Yeah,
surprising. I was thinking it's more of Braum picking a guy rather than playing the hot hand like he did with Sindelar and Blau. I think it's more of him just like, until you prove something that like we're not going to win with you. I mean, he did well against Iowa, did pretty well against Illinois. So I mean, like, stick with him until he makes it clear that okay, make a change.
Yeah, because coming into this game, he was the second leading passer in the Big Ten, so it wasn't like he was playing bad. But like, and I think he would admit it himself. And I know Braum even mentioned this wasn't Aiden's best game. But also he didn't get the greatest help around him. I remember Jared Sparks dropping 2 balls, which, man, I love the guy's spirit and everything, but how many more chances has he got to get? He seems to drop a few every week. David Bell dropped a couple, even though they were really difficult catches. We're just so used to him coming up with those balls. Payne Durham had a few drops the other night.
It was kind of a crummy weather.
It was, which was frustrating as far as the run game. We knew going into the game we're going to have to get the run game going, and we couldn't. And I thought, abandoned the run pretty quickly.
If you take out O'Connell's five carries, which I'm sure him being flushed and getting sacked, had 12 carries to running backs or one to Milton, right?
Yeah. And B Schmidt 9 on Periscope here says Northwestern game more than the others showed he singles in on Bell. Needs to think about checking down. I agree. It seems like when he kind of panics, Bell's his safety blanket, which I understand. But this is a good one for you, Webby, since you are a Bears fan.
Oh, God, why?
Who abandons the run faster, Nagy or Braum? Webby, take that one away.
That is a great question, and one I really don't want to answer. I can't believe I watched that whole game last night.
Yeah,
God.
Oh, you watched the whole Bronco game, Tanner. So you can't.
Oh, I can't talk. They're awful too. They're turnover waiting to happen, man. They're in quarterback purgatory. It's awful. But
yes.
So even though Horvath didn't have a good game on the ground, he did have 9 catches for 100 yards. First Purdue running back since Edwin Watson in the 97 Alma Bowl against Oklahoma State to have 100 yards receiving, which that was kind of mind-blowing to me.
That really surprised me.
So, and some of those were kind of like a run in a way.
That's what I think you kind of
line.
That's what I mean. Going back to last year, 2 years ago, same thing. Struggled to run, and Brahms talked about it's like, okay, our offensive line obviously isn't a strength. We're not going to run it, but we're going to do basically runs with little swing passes, screens, the end arounds with Jackson Anthrop or Rondell Moore 2 years ago. Just kind of a run or just kind of a long extended handoff. But I'm kind of surprised. I think he mentioned about checkdowns that we're not seeing the tight ends more.
Yeah.
I kind of thought, I mean, we heard a lot about Garrett Miller. I mean, he had that one fourth down play. He pulled away. He was running away from them a little bit. And then the other redshirt freshman, Kyle Bilodeau, I mean, Payne Durham, I mean, all guys, the 2 redshirt freshmen, highly recruited and talked about well. And Payne Durham, we know he's had several touchdown catches last year and has shown he can do it. So that's why I was kind of surprised how much he hones in on Horvath and David Bell, that we don't see more of those safety blankets with the tight ends.
Absolutely, because I think Payne's a good tight end, and I think Aaron Miller's got a ton of potential. I mean, 1 catch in his career, and you couldn't ask for
40-yard touchdown. Yeah.
So most of that was him. He's caught over the middle. He took that. I mean, that was
a great play call too.
That was a great play call. He was wide open, and then he did run away from the defenders.
There was a few play calls that stick out in my mind that I didn't like, especially the QB outside draw with O'Connell under center, which he tripped over Horvath. And I'm thinking in my head, did we not learn anything last year when Sindelar got a concussion running against Vanderbilt? Why are we running with pocket quarterbacks? They get injured. That's how our quarterbacks always get hurt. Yeah. Plummer got injured last year on a run. Blau got injured going around a run.
I mean, the guys were slipping all over the field too. I don't know why that play call was.
That made me mad.
It was mind-boggling to me because let alone he's not a runner, but then the fact you throw in the elements, and that was.
Anything on why Malik Carr hadn't seen much of the field? I believe he's still injured. I think he went to warm up.
He was dressed though. I saw him in the huddle.
He was banged up, and I think they mentioned him before the game that he was not there. He was tried. I mean, he was like George. George was dressed but didn't see the field.
And Brom even mentioned, I think after the game, because I think again, I'm sure we'll talk about it. Talking about Rondale.
We'll get to
he's not going to play. He's not going to play guys who aren't ready to come back yet, or not aren't ready, but aren't healthy. So,
how many? We talk about how many wide receivers. I mean, before the year, how many wide receivers? But I feel like they all have gotten freaking hurt. Like, so Rondale's been hurt. Anthrop was hurt. Malik Carr's hurt. I think they said Sullivan, the one that I think Shepard talked a lot about. I think he's hurt. Sheffield got hurt.
The wide receiver had a tough time pronouncing his name. He was hurt. That's why he played this week.
Yes.
Because I didn't know he was hurt. And then Brom said that's the reason he hadn't seen him. He was hurt because early in the game, I'm like, why don't we put him in? He was he flipped from Northwestern. Maybe he'd have some motivation a little bit. And then he was out there. I was like, he's out there. So
I mean, like the only wide receiver. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Bell's been hurt this year. He was hurt last year. But
Bell, Anderson.
Yeah, Marcellus Moore. Yeah.
Anderson and Sparks haven't been hurt, I don't think.
Now, Milton Wright's gotten lit up a couple times in the first 2 games and left the field but stayed in there. But
Anderson's only caught 5 balls this year. He's got to be probably a little frustrated. But, I mean, that's the thing. It's like we got all these weapons, but I guess going back to Saturday, a little frustrating point that we only put up 20 points, but it was against the best defense I think we'll play all year.
It reminded me a lot of the TCU game from last year. Just a very dominant. I mean, I think we played better offensively than we did. I mean, I was also, Plummer's first start, but it was a dominant defense, and they shut down our number 1 wide receiver. They shut down Moore last year. It was before David Bell really emerged, and I feel like we just couldn't really get anything going on offense. That's what reminded me of.
What I would say is the TCU game, Purdue was dominated, and that game was not as close as it felt. This one, Northwestern had control of the game, but Purdue still was in it. I mean, I think Purdue's defense kept them in it. But I agree, it was frustrating offense, was not being able to really do anything, and that's kind of the more I thought about it this week or weekend after was like, okay, Purdue didn't play well and still had 2 chances in the fourth quarter to tie it up.
Yeah, it's a pretty good team. We did see King Doru make his debut on the season, but Brom said he's not 100% healthy, so that's why we didn't see a ton of him. I'm still surprised we're not seeing other backs, though. I'm surprised we haven't seen Hewitt at all. I think Tyreek Murphy's kind of in the doghouse for the rest of the year.
I think you said he was dressed, didn't you, Webby? Someone said he was dressed, I thought, for this game.
I didn't see that now.
I thought I saw that somewhere, that he was on the sidelines.
I would be surprised if we see him play this year in a game, but
I think made a mistake and maybe he's atoned and made up for it the last 5 weeks or so. 4 weeks. But I agree, but I thought it was kind of an odd spot to put King in. Wasn't it like that 3rd and 1 right before the Garrett Miller 4th down? Give his first runner up the middle with King Doru, and then when you've got your 6'3", 230-pound back who I don't know. I thought that was odd. I guess
there's a couple times where he just runs hard. I mean, it was the 4th down where he got stuffed and then still got it. It was like a 4th and
kept those legs moving.
Oh my God. There was one run where I guess I missed the beginning, or I didn't see where it started, and I watched him and he bounced off and fell forward. I'm like, oh, that was a good run. He's like, oh, he gained a yard because he should have lost 3.
Yeah, he keeps those legs moving. He's hard to bring down. It was nice to see Jackson Anthrop back. That was a pleasant surprise. He's back a couple weeks earlier than he probably should be, but he's the definition of a Boilermaker. The whole family, the Anthrop family's contributed a lot to Purdue University athletics. So,
are there any more of those Anthrops coming up?
Maybe cousins or something.
The nephews that are 4 years old.
Yeah. In the future. But before we switch to defense, I saw a lot of people frustrated with the vanilla offensive game plan. I wasn't just saying you. I was honestly saying a lot on the message board, but I do want to say we did run one trick play the other night. There was a flea flicker, but it was some sort of reverse, and then we passed it. I think there was a defensive pass interference on the play.
I don't remember that.
But so he's still trying to get wrinkles in there, but
that fourth down play to Garrett Miller was I don't know. I think
just a good play action.
It was a good play, but I mean, I think he snuck out there. I think Miller was blocking, and then it was a delayed. I believe. I think
it was a little rub with the ref too.
Yeah. I was gonna say. I think there was a little pick there. So.
So, but I don't know. I should one of these days record the game and go back and watch and see. But maybe it just didn't work.
And the offensive line got blown up before.
Or something, or maybe But
and that's also part of it. If the offensive line's getting dominated, then you can't really take those risks. And then it's like, oh crap, we just lost 12 yards because we tried to do a double reverse or something.
And while I don't think he's as aggressive as he has been at points in the past, it seemed like all we were trying to do the other night was throwing deep.
Yeah, and it wasn't working.
Do you think they were trying to get pass interference calls?
I think there was some.
Well, as much as they were grabbing, yeah, I think
there was
exactly. So I mean, just keep like, okay, they're going to call it at some point. So
and they didn't.
Which it would have been fantastic to have number 4 out there because they wouldn't be able to grab David Bell as much, and they probably wouldn't to caught up to Rondale to grab him. And do you guys think, because it was reported that he's been practicing the last 2 weeks, but for whatever reason, he's just not ready to go in a game. Do you think they thought he was going to play up until Friday night and some of the game plan revolved around Rondale? And then when he decided he couldn't play, they had to kind of readjust things a little bit?
It could be. With us all being on, being subscribed to Gold and Black, I think all we really see is what the message board says. And some people we might take, what they say. And I think there's definitely, if he was practicing, I think there's no reason why they didn't think he was going to play. I don't know. Yeah, I think you're right, Tan. I think probably some of the game plan revolved around him.
I would hope that – go for it, Tan.
A good friend of the show, Thad Mooney, said 4 isn't coming back. I've been saying all along if he didn't play against Northwestern, he wasn't coming back. But there was bad weather conditions. But
it's November. It's November.
I know we're running out of time. But to the point of him hopefully coming back is I feel like if he really didn't want to play – he wouldn't be there on campus. No. He could take his online classes off campus. He wouldn't be there. Wouldn't be there on the sidelines. But for whatever reason, something's going on. Something I don't know if it's between the years at this point, if it's all mental, or I'm sure he wants to make sure he is 100% healthy. But I also don't like the fact that if he has been practicing, then he doesn't play. That takes reps from other younger guys who could really use them. I just hope it doesn't become a distraction internally.
I feel like if he is practicing, I don't think he's practicing fully just because they are treating him kind of with the kid gloves so they don't want him to get hurt in practice. So even if he is 100% healthy, he's probably not getting full reps anyway. So I wouldn't worry about him too much with that. And that's why I'm kind of more of like, this seems like a pattern with Purdue football in the last 2 years, just with Rondale and Lorenzo last year, and now Rondale again this year, where it's like, oh, this is the week, and then it's like, oh no, actually maybe next week, and then it's like, this is the week, maybe next week.
Yep.
Or like how Lorenzo Neal last year, that's what I keep going back. TCU, he's going to be ready for TCU, and then it's like, oh, actually maybe it's going to be like 4 more weeks.
Heck, he was supposed to be ready for battle week 1.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's definitely TCU, and then it's like, nope, never mind.
Yep. And I'm still curious. I'll always be curious if we were a little more successful last year as a team, if Lorenzo or even if Rondale could have came back, if they would have came back last year, if we could have been a bowl caliber team instead of a 4-8 team. I don't know. We'll probably never know. But
I kind of doubt it with Neal. Sorry, we can get into that later.
B. Schmidt 9 said the other Marcellus could be getting those reps. Absolutely.
I mean, with him,
he's hurt too, isn't he?
I don't know, but I feel like if we're going to see him, in the kick return game. The fact that he's not out there, I just feel like it means he's just not ready in general.
Yeah, and I think Brom kind of hinted on that he's just not ready yet, and he'll probably be ready next year. Which I thought TJ Sheffield did fine with in the return game the other night. I thought that was actually our best special teams game yet out of 3 games.
I'm thinking though, with kind of to that, with what we talked about getting the run game, why can't we, I don't know, try to get him the ball just like a screen or an end around, hand it off to him to see if he can make somebody miss and break a play, because we don't really have, besides David Bell making a 30-yard jump ball. I mean, do we, other than, I guess, Garrett Miller running away, have we had?
Milton's
Horvath's had yeah, but I mean, it's more, they've been catch and be tackled right there. It's not anybody's making, I mean, Horvath had the hurdle and the long run, but I mean,
you're right.
Nobody's like Rondell Moore is going to take 190 yards.
You're right. And I would like to see some reverses with some speedier guys. I was really confused by the Milton Wright reverse the other night. I mean, I feel like he's more of a go up and get the ball kind of receiver instead of a speedy. He wouldn't have been the one I would have chose to get the reverse, but the coaches know a lot more than I do. So
it's tough to bring down. Maybe he breaks a tackle and then it's enough to spring.
He's a big dude. So.
But going back to Rondell, it'll be interesting to see if he plays this week. It would be nice if he could, because this is the team last year that started his injury.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice.
And I know Tanner, I don't know if it's been on the podcast or offline, we've talked about the wide receiver on the other side now, Friday night, Bateman, that
Rashad Bateman,
maybe was behind him before the year in the NFL draft. Now is probably right there with him, and now it's probably ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's extra motivation for him to go out there and repeat 2018. And
real quick, before we get into previewing the Minnesota game in more detail, we've talked a little bit about it, but how about the defense? I thought they played pretty well the other night.
I think they did play well.
I'm liking this Bob Diocto defense. It's a lot of bending. It is a lot of bending, but I think it was always break.
It was better. I think it was better this week. The first 2 weeks were hard for me to watch at times just because it just looked so easy at times.
That first Northwestern drive, they went down pretty freaking.
I was frustrated. That's true.
Yeah. Then we jumped on fourth, even though what the hell? What's the rule when I thought you can jump and get back?
You're supposed to. Then, as long as you don't create contact, you're allowed to jump back.
The lineman sticks out his hand and smacks him on the helmet.
But then if he crosses into the neutral zone, which I think is like over the
you're
football,
allowed to jump back.
right?
Yeah, you're allowed.
If you're into the neutral zone, though, then what's a neutral zone infraction?
I have no idea.
That's where I just don't know the rule. The rule there.
I believe they called offsides, which means they initiated contact. But
they said that was what they called
initiated contact. It was the offensive player. So that was. I know Brian Newbert of Golden Block. He had no idea about it. He tried looking up in the rules. It didn't say anything in the rules. So I'd be interested. I hope they sent that tape to the Big Ten. Not that the Big Ten officials are going to correct themselves, but
I think
I would love a clarification.
I think Jeff Brom addressed it a little bit, and he said he was frustrated. He gave the ruling like, okay, yes, if he crossed over, didn't initiate contact and gets back, then it's not offsides. But if he makes contact, then yes, it's a penalty. Or if he's in the neutral zone, then it's a penalty. But he didn't say, from where I was, he didn't. He was back. He didn't initiate contact. It didn't look like a penalty. It wasn't offsides.
On limit.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's so bizarre. I hope we never have to play against Peyton Ramsey again. I hope he just leaves and doesn't come back next year, because I'm tired of playing against that guy. He's a Purdue killer. He's a good quarterback, though. He's a good college quarterback.
He's not, flash or anything, but he
gets the job done.
Reliable. Yeah, he's
perfect. Made that Northwestern team a lot better. Of course, they're healthy this year. They were banged up as bad as we were, if not a little worse, believe it or not, than we were last year. But I was real happy with the run defense. I mean, Northwestern had 40 carries. I don't think they got to even 90 yards. I think it was
80 yards total, 2 yards.
And especially the last few drives. I mean, our defense was giving our offense chances. Lorenzo Neal woke up in the fourth quarter and dominated that on the line of scrimmage.
And that's what we were going back to 5 minutes ago when you're saying if Neal comes back last year. I think he actually was more hurt than they were letting on, and he wasn't practicing and out of shape, because you can kind of see each week he's kind of gotten stronger and stronger and played more. So I think he needed more time
to get back into it. In the gear, and they couldn't stop him. He was dominant in that fourth quarter.
How about Derek Barnes?
Oh, my God.
It was his best game. Yeah, it was his best game.
Flying around the field.
Hit hard. Yeah,
I love DeMarcus Mitchell. Love the way that guy plays. I hope he's okay. He got banged up, but
he stayed in. He stayed in the game though and played. But yeah.
But my concern goes back to the lack of pass rush. It's just not, especially without Big George out there. It's just nobody's getting home.
Mm-hmm.
But Cam Allen got another interception.
Just in the jerseys. We haven't talked about that yet.
Oh, those are jerseys. Sweet. I hope they keep those.
I hope they keep them and use them like we use the Glenn Robinson era jerseys in basketball. Break them out once or twice a year.
I wouldn't mind if they were like the regulars again. Those were awesome. I love those.
I kept finding myself seeing a number and then trying to remember who that person was and forgetting who the actual current player is. Like, I don't know who that is. Like 24, I can remember that.
Mitchell.
Like, who's 24 again back?
My dad had the roster on because he kept forgetting.
Yeah.
What was it? Who was trying to get it? I kept like just forgetting who the people were. But I loved it. I think they looked so sharp.
Oh, they looked clean. The helmets looked good with them. It was awesome.
They did really well. Those were good.
Does Mitchell have just this year or next year as well? Well, he's a junior college player, so he has 2 years. And technically, since this is a free year eligibility for everybody, if he wanted to, he can have 2 years starting next year.
Yeah.
But he's at least for sure back next year, if not 2022, which is good news. So that whole thing's going to be interesting to see how this comes to fruition with all these players who are seniors or fifth-year seniors even.
I mean, like, because Lorenzo Neal could come back next year if he wanted to as well.
Jackson Anthrop could come back as a sixth year if he wanted to.
Sparks could.
J.D. Dellinger could come back as a sixth year if he wanted to. So,
speaking of, did you guys notice the backup kicker that had a few kickoffs?
I did not know who he was.
I forget his name.
Because we used both punters. We used Brooks Cormier and Collins. Zach Collins.
That wasn't much of a surprise, though, right? But
Collins is more of the rugby style punter, and I thought they both did fine.
What's his name? It starts with a W, I want to say.
I was a big fan of the kickoffs, though. I mean, we were putting them out of the end zone, so that was nice to see.
I used to give J.D. Dellinger a lot of flack.
He's been really good.
He's really improved.
He's been really good for the last season and a half.
That sounds right for the kicker's name.
I thought it was W.
I'm not trying to. If somebody else wants to take a stab, I'm horrible at pronouncing names.
Remember what number he was?
No.
Oh, well.
But I did notice that he was on the kickoff. But that's one thing about Diaco, even though we're going from kickers back to defense. It's a weird transition. But Diaco, he keeps a lot of guys fresh. I think on that first drive, he subbed in 11 or 12 different guys. On that first drive of the game, he was just subbing guys in like crazy. So I do like that.
I believe it was Chris Van Ierken. Is that right? That was
I don't remember what number it was. So
57.
It does. Yeah, it does ring the bell, I think. It was a weird number for a kicker. 57 is like a linebacker number usually. So
yeah, he's right there on the roster with Branson Dean.
Yep, 58.
Defensive lineman, and Jimmy McKenna, offensive lineman.
Yeah, that would have been him. Weird kicker number. Man, kickers are usually in the 80s or 90s or single digits. Each their own. But anyways, I thought the defense was good. They're going to have a big challenge this Friday night. I know Minnesota's got a 1-3 record. They only put up 7 points against Iowa, but they are a talented offense. Coming into the season, I thought Tanner Morgan was the second best quarterback in the conference. Rashad Bateman's right up there as one of the top, if not the top wide receiver in the Big Ten. Then they have the leading running back, which his name's escaping me right now.
Ibrahim.
Yeah,
Muhammad
he's leading the conference in rushing.
Leading the country in rushing, isn't he?
Yeah, so Purdue's going to have their work cut out for them on the off. But on the flip side, we should be able to put up a lot of points. This Minnesota defense so far, the first couple weeks has been atrocious. I mean, they let a Michigan team who looks like a dumpster fire do whatever they wanted to and more on them. But I know it's a week-to-week season more than ever this year, especially within the Big Ten. It's just hard to figure out. But we're due to beat Minnesota. They've beat us 7 of the last 8 meetings. We haven't won up at Minnesota since 2007. We've never won at this stadium. We haven't won outside in Minnesota since like 1972 because they played indoors after that for a long period of time. The overall series is actually in favor of Minnesota 39-33-3 with a 32-12-3 record up in Minneapolis. This will be Purdue's 12th ever Friday night game. Purdue has got a record 5-5-1. Of course, our latest Friday night game last year didn't do very well. Didn't go very well against Nevada, but the prior one to that was Ohio. That was better. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, like you said, Andrew, at the beginning, it's a shorter week, so we don't have to wait as long.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
That's a good point.
9. Yeah, they didn't fire the defensive coordinator this time. If you guys recall, last time we were up there in 2018, they'd fired their defensive coordinator the week prior, and it was the worst point margin loss of the Brom era. And that's when the rumors were circulating about Louisville.
That's right.
Oh,
they had fired Petrino, and it was just a mess. So hopefully it goes better than that. I don't know what the forecast is up there. I checked last week. That was a week ago. It was supposed to be like in the 30s, but no snow or anything, no rain. So
it's gonna be cold.
It's gonna be cold. That's a good prediction there, Andrew. So, but we'll get into our score prediction a little bit. But before we get into picking games around the Big Ten, the Boiler Breakdown is brought to you by Mad Mushroom. Serving Boilermakers since 1993, Mad Mushroom is located in the heart of West Lafayette and is well known as the home of the original cheese sticks. But whenever I visit, I like to sit down and have an ice cold beer while trying out their latest pizza of the month, which this month, their pizza of the month is the Mad Chili Pizza, which is their signature hand-tossed dough covered in a house-made chili with onions, jalapenos, and mozzarella and cheddar cheeses, and finished with corn chips. That starts at $13. So next time you stop into town, tell them Boiler Breakdown sent you for $5 off any order over $20. And any Boiler Breakdown listener can use the coupon code online, BREAK5, that's in all caps, BREAK 5, to claim the $5 off any order over $20 as well. That's at madmushroom.com. Mad Mushroom, feed your head. And we are glad they are a sponsor of the Boiler Breakdown podcast. And I saw today they had a pizza deal going on today. I think it was like $6 for a pizza.
Hot day.
So, still got time. Still got time if you're watching this and you live in the Lafayette, West Lafayette area. Give them a call and or order online. Go order a couple pizzas. Get over that $20 so you get $5 off by using the Break 5.
You have to order like 4 pizzas, Dan, if it's $6.
Hey, college kids can eat.
You're not wrong.
Take advantage of those pizza deals.
Yeah.
So, but I got another good slate of games around the Big Ten this weekend. The races are starting to heat up. The divisions. I don't know if this first one's going to happen. I didn't read anything about today. As of yesterday, Maryland still wasn't practicing. I don't know if they returned to practice today or not, but that's Michigan State with a record of 1-3 traveling to Maryland, who's got a record of 2-1. Maryland is a 6.5-point favorite.
How bad is Michigan State?
Very bad.
They're not good. Not good.
Mel Tucker's, it's not going well so far. Rocky Lombardi is awful. I am still embarrassed we lost to him in 2018. They finally gave him the hook the other day and benched him for their backup. 0 points against Indiana the other day.
If it happens, I think Maryland wins. I think they cover.
I agree.
Yeah.
And Maryland will be off to a 3-1 start.
Yeah.
This is the Fox Big Noon game, number 9, 4-0 Indiana. I almost throw up when I say it. I hate it.
I was watching ESPN before we started recording, and they were talking about college football playoff, and they mentioned Indiana. I just shut it off. I was like, I can't.
Do you guys think that is part of the reason maybe why Purdue fans were so mad the other night?
100%.
Because Indiana is 4-0.
Yes.
I don't know. That wasn't
that plays a part in it. The fact
maybe for some. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean for a lot, but I think a lot, especially those who live in the state, it's both coaches kind of start around the same time. I think Brom has a year on Allen. Is that right? No. Okay, started the same year. And granted, I mean, Allen took over a program that was consistently, at least winning 5 games. I mean, they weren't going to bowls, but they definitely had more there. He's done a hell of a job recruiting. And I think, it's just frustrating to see a team like that, who typically we're used to beating up on, have this type. I mean, they had 9 wins last year, and obviously they're off to a hell of a start this year. And we're always quick to point out the schedule, whether it's last year playing, UConn or Ball State and cupcakes, easing their way. But we lost to Nevada, we lost to Eastern Michigan. So I think that's another frustrating part too, is we can bash them all they want, but they win the games they're supposed to win. And then obviously you get breaks like this year where Michigan and Penn State are garbage. That's the only reason why Indiana's ranked as high as they were, is because Penn State was preseason ranked number 8. Obviously, if they played now, it would not be the same case. I think IU would still be ranked, but it'd be like, I think they'd be in like the 20s.
Their opponents' combined record's awful, but I will say they can pitch that to recruits. Hey, we beat Penn State and Michigan.
Right. Yeah,
the brand name.
They're combined 1-8 or something, right? Yeah,
it's pretty bad, but they do have. This is their biggest game in the last 30 years. Probably actually dating back to the 60s. They're at number 3, Ohio State. 3-0. Ohio State is 20-point favorites in this game. This is.
I hope
the winner of this game, of course, is in the woodshed. They're in the driver's seat for the East, but the winner of this game might be. I don't know. Indiana still got to play Wisconsin too, but in Purdue, but in Maryland. But
I mean, that could be, if IU somehow wins this game, which God, I don't even want to think about it. But then they could play Wisconsin twice if Wisconsin wins this weekend as well, and they go to the Big Ten championship. I mean, that could be.
You guys realize if they win this game, it might be worse than the Watt shot.
So that's why I don't really care as much, is because maybe I don't know that many IU fans. I haven't heard anything, and maybe it's because it's COVID and it's a positive for me in COVID that I don't see anybody. I haven't heard anything about it from anybody because nobody really cares.
I've heard
at least in around north.
I hear more of Notre Dame up in northern Indiana.
Yeah,
because the country. But the problem is, a lot of them like Notre Dame football and Indiana basketball, and this year they like Indiana football.
Right?
They just hate Purdue. Hate. So
yeah.
Of course, when Notre Dame and Indiana win Saturday and Purdue loses, I just get trashed on.
Honestly, I don't know. That's why maybe it's why it doesn't bother me as much, is because it's like this season doesn't really matter. It doesn't exist. It's not a real season. So,
I think part of it too is it's a lot of our own faults too. But like following a lot of like Indianapolis media. I mean, and obviously,
I don't follow.
I do.
Follow.
I don't read the IU store. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, and it's just seeing them just lose their minds over them.
I flip past the Indy Star Sports when it comes up on Twitter pretty quickly, so I don't even care.
Yep. So what's your prediction for that game Saturday?
I hope
Ohio State by 40.
I think Ohio State does.
I think Penix struggles.
That's the key, because he's been playing well.
I think Penix struggles.
Or he played well.
He didn't. He
last 2 weeks.
He struggled against Penn State.
Yeah, the whole team struggled against Penn State.
Penn State gave them
300 yards.
Yeah, Penn State gave them the game.
If the kid just falls down at the half-yard line, we're not talking about this right now.
Speaking of, did you see on that line? Did you see the Browns when Nick Chubb did that on Sunday? That cost like the over, or not the over, the line. I think like Cleveland was like -3 or something, and they won by 2.
Well, the pros, they get greedy. I mean, Todd Gurley cost the Falcons the game against the Lions that same.
Oh, no, Chubb. What happened was Chubb stepped out of bounds at the 1 instead of scoring.
Oh.
And it would, had he walked in, then the Browns would have covered, and a lot of people lost, But
I got Ohio State by 24, so they cover.
I think Ohio State wins by 21, but I wouldn't be surprised if IU keeps it like 10-14.
I really don't see them winning, though.
Ohio State large. Penix is going to struggle.
It'll be cold. That's the question. It's going to be cold. That's the question.
Yeah. What was the weather factor there? Illinois at Nebraska. Nebraska is a 16-point favorite. Illinois coming off a last-second field goal win against Rutgers. Nebraska coming off a win over Penn State. Nebraska made a quarterback switch. Luke McCaffrey is now their starting quarterback.
Nebraska 15-point favorites.
16 I got.
Yeah, I got 15.5. Holy crap. This is going to be a bad game.
I got Nebraska pretty easily.
Yeah.
I think they cover that. I just don't think Illinois is very good.
I don't think Nebraska's very good.
I can't stand Frost, but I think they're a little better than I've been getting their credit. I think they got talent, at least. I should say.
They have more talent. Illinois it's just struggled just with getting guys to play
Glovies
just because of COVID and everything.
If they don't win game. I think
his buyout's not that high after this year, and which is after they restructured his contract last year. They gave him that extension. It
hasn't gone well.
No,
I think Nebraska, but they don't cover.
Okay. Interesting matchup here. Iowa, who's looked really good the past 2 weeks. They are 2-2. They're at 0-4 Penn State. Iowa's a 2.5-point favorite.
Surprising.
I think Penn State is quit. I think Iowa by 10.
Yeah, if you're James Franklin, how do you get these guys up? They're not winning the East, of course. Yeah, they can lose all their games and make a bowl because the bowls can take whoever they want, but still wouldn't be a good bowl. I mean, these kids got a lot of distractions going on outside of just football with classes and COVID and family stuff and whatever. So if they don't really love playing, how do you get them up? That's a challenge for all the coaches now.
And there's no not playing in front of fans anymore. I mean, they really haven't been, but it's hard to.
You have to think though that some of these guys want to play in the NFL. So they were talented guys. I mean, Penn State consistently gets 4 stars that are thinking, okay, I'm going to go to the NFL. So that's what they have is their tape and putting up numbers. I think so. Yeah, it's not. I don't know a team, but they're going to be. I don't know. I think Iowa. I'm with you, Webby. I think Iowa they cover maybe a touchdown or something. I don't know, but
I'm going Iowa as well.
Yeah,
a close one. Penn State did pull Sean Clifford, which I was surprised. He wasn't playing well. I was surprised they did that. Not sure if he's going to start this week or not. So that was kind of the story around the Big Ten over the weekend. Was story of the backups. Everybody was pulling their starters
except O'Connell. Yeah.
A really good one up in Evanston this weekend. Number 10, Wisconsin, who's 2-0 at number 19, Northwestern, who's 4-0. Winner of this game most likely is going to win the West. But if Wisconsin, for some reason, gets one more game canceled, they can't make the Big Ten championship. So Purdue's still not out of it, but they would need Wisconsin to lose at least a game, if not just get one canceled, in Northwestern to lose 2 games.
Mm-hmm. And we can't lose anymore.
Wisconsin is a 7.5-point favorite in this one.
I mean, I've only seen Wisconsin won 2 games, but they've looked pretty damn good in both those games.
Both sides of the ball, they looked really good.
That's
probably the most complete team maybe in a while.
I think
more so with a quarterback, I guess. Like, they've always been good on offense because they've had a dominant running back or 4 of them. Definitely probably one of their best complete in terms of a quarterback, but I think Wisconsin wins. I'm going to say they don't cover. I mean, Northwestern's defense is pretty good as we've
Northwestern is great at winning single possession games.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mertz was 12 of 22, 127 yards and 2 touchdowns against Michigan. So they did score 49 points. So
he only gave up 11.
It was fine. Yeah, I think this one's going to be a defensive game. I don't think either. I think it's going to be like a 17-14 game.
I think these are the best 2 defenses in the conference.
Yeah.
I'm agreeing with you guys. I think Wisconsin wins, but they don't cover that spread. I think Northwestern covers it. So I think it's going to be close.
I go back and forth between Purdue's defense was pretty good and made Northwestern's offense is not all that good. I go back and forth.
Got a comment here. Northwestern will have a rude awakening when the refs don't swallow their whistles like they did against Purdue. Yeah, I'm not disagreeing. They're definitely taught to do that. That's how they're. I think that's how they're taught to play defense. If they're going to call it, take advantage of it.
Like what was Legion of Boom? Those guys. I mean, did every play. They can't call it every play. I mean, you can. They won't.
Very true. Just like offensive holding, they could call it every play if they really wanted to. In the nightcap for the Big Ten Conference, you got Michigan at Rutgers. I don't have a line on this, but I thought I saw yesterday that it was only Michigan by a touchdown.
I don't see one. Let me see if I can see here.
Either way, it's you're 1-3 against 1-3.
Of course,
I think Michigan wins though.
I've got Michigan by 7.5.
Okay.
Mine.
I think Michigan covered. I think they win by 10 or more. Even though they're not good, I think Rutgers is still Rutgers. They're fighting.
I'm gonna say Rutgers cover.
They're better. I think Rutgers is better, but I mean, they did lose to Illinois last week, so that you have already said is terrible. Tanner, you agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I think Michigan wins. Yeah, I think it's probably. I think Michigan covers.
If they lose, Harbaugh might just want to leave.
I'm surprised. Like I thought he was fired after the IU game.
I don't
think they'll fire him. I don't think they will. I think there'll be an amicable split but I don't think I think he'll step down over
just because of his history with the university as a player.
Yeah, I mean, as much as they freaking hyped him up when he came in as being the Michigan man and all that BS, but I mean, hell, he could take the Lions job if Patricia gets canned after this year. I don't know.
I think he's the Chicago Bears' next head coach.
You know what? I heard? I think Lovey might be looking for a job, Webby. And
reunion.
I'd take him back. I'd take him back.
If the Bears don't turn around, Webby, I think you're gonna be looking for a new head coach
and another new quarterback.
That's been.
I feel your pain. So
breakdown, not the
Kyle Orton
breakdown.
Yeah, this isn't the Bears breakdown. So, a few top 25 games. I just laugh at this one because a few years ago this wouldn't have been like this. Number 4, Clemson at Florida State. Clemson 7-1. Florida State's 2-6. Can you guys guess the spread on this game?
I've got it. I'm looking.
I've got 35.
35. 35.
Is
how far? When was Jameis? When was Jameis there?
What
is what?
Is Lawrence back?
I think he is.
I think he is too. I mean, Jameis was what 2013, 2014?
2014 when they won the national title,
yeah.
And then they just
so in 6 years it's gone kind of the opposite direction here, huh?
Jimbo left, and then they only gave Taggart 2 years, canned him, and now the Norvell era is off to a horrid start.
I think. I mean, if Lawrence is back, I think they cover. I think they're out to prove that they're a much better team with him. Obviously, the loss last week kind of stings, but I mean, it was a good team in Notre Dame. As much as I hate to say it, but I think they're out just to destroy everything in their path until they.
I was just saying, do they need the statement? They're not going to hold up here. Like, okay, we're gonna win by 50 if we can win by 50. There's not like, oh, we're gonna coast. They're gonna get by 30 and coast in the fourth quarter.
That's what I was thinking. They get up, then they take the foot off the gas. But when you put it into that circumstance, yeah, I think they cover.
They've already lost, so they've got to keep. You've got to keep winning.
Waste everybody until they play Notre Dame again in the championship game. Assuming Notre Dame gets there too, which they probably will.
They got a bye week this week, so. Yeah. Notre Dame's 3 opponents left are at North Carolina.
They'll watch the other team. Their other team
at home in that Wake Forest. So.
North Carolina could get them.
Yeah, they could. Good little matchup here. 6-1 Appalachian State at 7-0 North 15 Coastal Carolina. And I'm off and out when I say good matchup. I'm not.
I know nothing about these teams.
I'm going with App State. With App State.
What's Coastal Carolina's mascot?
The Chanticleers.
Chanticleers.
What the heck is that?
Great question.
Ask Masters champ Dustin Johnson what it is, because that's where he wants to
go. To Coastal Carolina? I think that sounds right, yeah.
I'll take Appalachian State.
I'm going to take Coastal Carolina to cover.
5.5 point game. Sure, Coastal Carolina. DJ won the Masters. It's a good mojo for him. I'm going to keep rolling.
I just like to pick on this team. Number 22, Texas at Kansas. Texas is a 29.5 point favorite.
Let's say, which team do you like to pick on?
Kansas.
I know.
7, they're just so bad. They're just so bad. Texas covers that.
Who'd Kansas lose to last week?
I don't know.
I feel like I don't know. Tanner, I feel like 62-9. They lost to Oklahoma 62-9.
Oh boy.
Hold on. I'm looking at another spread here. The BYU North Alabama game.
I don't even have one on there. Was it 45 or something?
47.5.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's the thing. BYU's 8, but they haven't played. Well, they won at Boise State. Besides that, they haven't played anybody.
No, they need to. I was watching again that college football, and they were talking about BYU, specifically BYU and Cincinnati, their chance to get into the playoff, and a lot needs to happen.
Number 7, Cincinnati. Speaking of them, they're 5.5 point favorites at number 5 and 2 Central Florida. This could be a tester.
Mm-hmm. Luke Fickell. I think they're gonna keep rolling since
cover.
We'll pick a couple more. Kansas State at number 17, Iowa State. Iowa State's 11 point favorites. Kansas State's 4-3, and Iowa State's 5-2.
Is it Matt Campbell's their coach, right?
Yep, and that is my prediction. If Harbaugh gets fired or leaves, I think he is their first call.
But he's been everybody's first call the last 2 years, it seems like, and he's just like, nope, not going anywhere.
Yeah, Michigan's
Michigan's
different. I know. I feel like he's gotten some other calls.
If not him, maybe Luke Fickell. which he turned down Michigan State, but Michigan State's not Michigan.
No, I think someone on the board said that Bo had coached at Ohio State before he became the Michigan man.
I mean, I don't see Urban Meyer coming out of retirement to take the Michigan job. I mean, his wife's Twitter has the X in her description instead of Michigan, where it should be an M. Or her last name. I mean, instead of Meyer, it's Xeyer. So don't think that would fly in that household.
No.
But I'm taking Iowa State to cover.
Yeah.
Tennessee at number 23, Auburn. Auburn's a 10-point favorite.
Tennessee's awful.
They're 2-4. Auburn's 4-2. War Eagle.
We know Webby, you hate that fan base, so I'm sure you're going to pick Auburn and to cover just because you'd like to see them upset, which I would agree with.
Number 21, Liberty, 8-0. They're underdogs on the road at 5-3. NC State, who's a 3.5-point favorite.
They were underdogs against Virginia Tech, weren't they?
And they were underdogs against Syracuse. They've beaten both.
Keep rolling with them.
I'm going NC State. I think they.
Yeah, me too.
Hugh Freeze.
Liberty, is it Flames? Liberty Flames?
Yep.
Flames.
Oklahoma State at Oklahoma, number 14 against number 18. Oklahoma's 7-point favorite. I believe that's where game day is this week.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't pick Ohio State and Indiana.
I don't think so.
Thank goodness, Webby. Come on.
I don't think they did.
It's not Indiana anyway.
That's true. It's not IU, but true. Well, because they know Ohio State's going to win by 40. That's why they didn't pick that game.
Yeah. And Fox Big Noon's going to be there on site.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I like Oklahoma.
I agree.
What year's their quarterback?
Freshman.
Rattler? Okay.
Mr. Rattler's freshman. Yep.
He's not too shabby.
No. And then last, number 20, USC at Utah. USC is a 3-point favorite. USC is 2-0, and they could easily be 0-2 right now.
And Utah has not played a game yet.
No.
Give me the Utes.
Take the Utes.
I'm taking USC. Maybe because I just want Clay Helton to keep winning so that job doesn't come open.
Why?
I don't know. It makes me nervous.
Brom's not going anywhere. He's not going to USC.
It makes me nervous.
If Purdue's been a mediocre team.
They're going to keep calling Franklin, I think, until he finally takes it.
or that's actually, I could see Urban Meyer taking that phone call.
Yeah, I think Urban Meyer takes USC or Alabama should Saban decide to leave if they don't call
Dabo
first. But then Urban Meyer could just step in the
get a shot. Lane Kiffin get a shot.
Hey, he's entertaining, man. He's entertaining.
You said throw.
Yes, I did. I thought Leach was going to be the entertainment of SEC. Leach's team's not playing well, but Kiffin, he's funny. I mean, he's dirty as dirty can be when it comes to recruiting, but he's funny. So
it fits in down there.
But before we get into some little basketball talk, Webb's Family Pharmacy is an independently owned community pharmacy with stores located in Rochester, Akron, and North Manchester, Indiana. Webb's is happy to announce that they are providing flu shots by appointment right in your car. Of course, the flu is really going around right now, on top of other things in the world. So simply call them to set up an appointment, and their friendly and caring staff will be happy to help you. For all of your high-quality medical equipment, supplies, and pharmacy services, check out www.webrx.com or give them a call. Webb's Family Pharmacy, the professional pharmacy with a hometown touch. Boiler up.
Yes, sir.
Basketball, yeah, we've had some news.
A week away.
That's a good point too. It is literally a week away from tomorrow.
On me,
and we still don't know the Big Ten conference schedule.
The Crossroads was confirmed. I did see that today.
Yes,
or if it wasn't already. But
the fact that we don't have the Big Ten schedule, does that make you nervous?
Yes.
Yep.
I honestly, and I hate this guy, I wish they would do what Rick Pitino proposed. Push the season back to start in January, and then you have May Madness instead of March.
As long as May Madness is in Indianapolis, all 68
you can still do the Indianapolis thing.
Oh my God. Can you imagine 68 teams NCAA tournament right into the Indy 500?
Wow.
That would be freaking
Especially
awesome.
if we could have some fans by that time.
I mean, even like if all I imagine is like downtown Indianapolis, even if we still had like if just
no fans, but
assuming people would still come, like
they'd have to close. They'd have to shut everything down.
Yeah, I'm just trying to imagine like if that was I
know it'd be awesome and it'd be terrible because like you can't go, you can't do anything probably because there's.
That was the thing that sucked because I really wanted to this was I really wanted to go. I've never been to the Final Four. I wanted to go in 2015, but I was studying abroad and I was like, this is the year to.
Should have been there in 2010. Sorry.
But I wanted to go, and this had to go and throw a wrench in the plans.
Well, it's Minnesota week, Tanner, so it's 8 weeks. So
it is.
Back there for 2010. There you go.
It is.
That's fitting.
But I'm very nervous about this season, just with everything going on with the cases and everything. I'm just nervous.
Oh, yeah.
I want them to get through this season, but to the NCAA's point, they have to have a tournament. They can't have another year where there's no tournament. They lost like $80 million last year, something ridiculous.
All of the conferences, yes, they've lost tons of money from that.
They just can't afford to not have a tournament. So I like this proposal yesterday of potentially having it in Indianapolis. They got plenty of venues.
I also will say that he proposed it too because he's had some issues with his team staying healthy, and I'm not surprised that he's
But what I'm nervous about the Big Ten is the 21-day rule again.
Yeah.
If a player gets it, they're going to miss 4 freaking games or something. It's a Big Ten season when it's tight and not scattered. That's just what makes me nervous. I'm more nervous about transmitting basketball contact than I am football.
I think you'll see because there's only there's 12 players on a basketball roster versus 80 on a football. Mm-hmm. So 3 or 4 guys get it on a basketball team, you're going to cancel games because you're not going to have a roster. So I don't think I don't know if they can really that just wipes out the season because if you get half the team gets it, then the team can't play for 3 weeks.
I think we'll see a lot of makeshift games too. Like I think if you watch
the replacements, the intramurals,
if you watched Purdue's what's this new series called?
Gold
Standard. Elliot Bloom kind of hinted at they got other teams lined up just in case they needed calls.
You got I think probably maybe a Purdue Fort Wayne. You've got Indiana State,
replacement players. Is that what you said?
No, the team.
Unless you're going to say
Iowa cancels, and we've got a game on Saturday, and it's Tuesday. We're going to call Indiana State. We're going to call IUPUI again. I could call Evansville. Somebody within driving distance and.
I would love to see Purdue. Never mind. I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
No, say it.
I was going to be like, how sweet would it be? It's like Purdue and Butler just play 4 times this year because it's like, our game's canceled. Let's play again.
Yeah, I don't want to go on 4 against Butler.
Who was it? Was who was the out east? The teams that they literally they play 6 times this year.
Do
that. I would be fine with it.
It's like Penn and
Boston University.
Yeah, Boston or something like that. How many games before they start fighting?
Exactly.
It's gonna get chippy.
It'd be
someone's gonna get a hard foul.
NBA series where it's just it'd be a 7-game playoff series.
That's true.
Awesome. I'm just imagining each other's girlfriends just getting the other team's head. When you play them 6 times, you're gonna get to know them really well.
There's going to be a hard foul at the second half of the first game, and the next guy's like, "Oh, he's mine. This game, he's mine."
I remember him. But we'll see. I am nervous. I'm really not. Usually, I'm real pumped for the Big Ten schedule to come out this year. I don't really care though because I usually look. Okay, do we have to play at Breslin Center? Do we have to play at Kohl Center? Do we have to play at Value City? Especially that one. This year's no fans. I'm like, it's all pretty much neutral court anyways. Yeah. So it doesn't really matter, which sucks for Purdue. They're one of the teams that's really going to be hit by losing their home court advantage.
And you think about holiday tournaments where they're playing in that's different because it's not you're playing in a hotel lobby where they put up a basketball, but there's 300 people there and they kind of come out flat.
Yeah.
So if there's no fans there already,
and I'm nervous for next week's game against Liberty because Evan mentioned earlier, there's no exhibition games. Yeah, those usually are boring, but they help your team get used to a game type environment. But at least both teams are going to be in the same situation.
Yeah,
nobody's playing exhibitions, so but it's going to be some ugly basketball. I think to start the year, but it just doesn't feel like basketball season, but
because we're going to play our fifth or
that's
fourth.
true.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, it is, but it is.
We'd be like in October 1st. Like at this point, if it was a regular season, we'd still have another month before basketball. But
we are a week away from Thanksgiving. But it's been it's been a long 7 months.
Yep. Yep. It's
we had news of. I think we talked about last week about Eric Hunter went down in a scrimmage.
Yeah.
Tibia
that was on Monday.
Tibia or something.
We knew he was hurt. We didn't know the extent of it, and
That's right. Yep.
6 to 8 week recovery time. But Painter's hopeful that's gonna be quicker than that. So
which would put him back around January 1st, around the end of the year.
Yep. Which we're already getting beat up. Our guys are already. Ethan Morton's coming back from mono. Travion Williams had a hip pointer. Emmanuel Dewana's been out with pneumonia. I know Mason Gillis has had a few bumps here and there, so we're already seeing it's like, thank goodness we got some depth, but still, it's like, oh, I hate seeing our primary ball handler go down.
Well, I mean, you look at last year. I mean, what we needed was better guard play, and it's a lot of our guards who are.
Yeah, we have.
If you think and Hunter are gone, not gone, but hurt. I mean, but all it does is just means that someone like Isaiah Thompson is going to get a chance to step up. Obviously, Jaden Ivey, which we're all excited to watch.
That's who I'm excited for.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see him, especially when these first couple of games when Morton and Hunter are not going to be available, most likely, or Morton may be available for limited time as he gets back into it. But Ivey's going to get a lot of run.
Yeah.
And probably play a lot of minutes, which will be kind of exciting to see him go through. And Painter's going to have to run with him, basically. I mean, I think he kind of learned that with Carson. He kind of let Carson play through some of those in his first couple of years as being really aggressive. And he's going to have to he's forced to do it with Ivey now.
Yeah. Nice thing about our offense is we don't really need a true point guard. I mean, we had a 6'8" forward bring up the ball the last couple of years, so it doesn't really.
Good point.
It doesn't really mean we're not a typical.
Just once the motion gets going, everybody's in. Yeah, you don't really need.
I think you'll see hopefully guys like Sasha step up, who I think he's prime. I mean, this is a chance. I think we've all talked about. He was a guy who could potentially get lost in the shuffle with, guys like Morton and Ivey coming up, and Newman. I completely forgot about Newman. But
he might start.
Yeah, this is a chance for someone like Sasha to kind of prove why he deserves to play, and I mean. Hell of a shooter, and hopefully he can add more. From what I've read, he sounds like he's a really great leader, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, I think this team is one that we'll see struggle early, but get better and better as the year goes on. At least that's my hope. I hope they get better and better as the year goes on. No, any cat
struggle. Yeah, you hope
not struggle. Yeah, but get better as the year goes on with more experience and chemistry with playing with each other. But no, any cats put us in the bubble of the Big Ten of that should make March Madness. So that was nice to see.
Was there did the Ivy League already come out? Did they cancel winter sports or postpone?
They canceled winter sports, and then their spring sports aren't starting till late February.
Yeah. So do you think it's going to get to a point where there's other conferences like that decide we're not going to play basketball? So then the 68 teams start to get more and more like college football, where pretty much anybody gets in. It's not going to be that bad.
The problem was football had a lot of conferences, and then the MAC, the Mountain West, the Big Ten. Oh, we want back in now that it's okay to play. So I think they're going to be a little more hesitant to come out and cancel, especially these smaller conferences that have already canceled so much.
It'll be interesting with some of the states as they like Michigan. Michigan just totally locked down 2 days ago. So. Illinois, I think, so, what happens if Michigan's just no, everybody stay home, no basketball?
That's the thing. You look at something teams going from Chicago to Indiana. I mean, a lot of times, they'll say, Indiana's one of those states where you have to quarantine for 14 days.
Illinois doesn't want us,
Yeah, what? Is someone like Northwestern, are they going to be able to? I mean, I guess they just did it for football, but I mean, if things get really worse in wintertime. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, like you said, Andrew, of how those states affect it. Yeah.
And I'm not going to get political on the podcast by any means, but I also don't know if we are to have a vaccine come out. Yeah. That's very effective. I don't know where college athletes fall in the.
Probably not a high priority.
I wouldn't think it a high priority, but
Yeah.
Plus, that's probably
unless like you got
realistically after
some of
the
these
season
athletic
too.
departments just pay a crap ton of money. I mean, that's
yeah.
Might be getting some letters in the mail from John Purdue Club.
Especially if the NCAA knows, we got to have that basketball tournament.
Yeah, with fans. I mean, if that's a vaccine, open up to fans, and if that's the case, then you can bet your ass that there's gonna be some colleges forking out a crap.
It'll be interesting for sure. But we'll get more in depth in it next week. We'll tie in our basketball preview with our next episode, which is always.
Did we decide that we're going to do a whole separate podcast? We didn't really decide that.
We'll decide off air, I guess. I don't want to have any fake advertising, I guess. So, but do have one more sponsor here, and that's of course Schroff Landscaping Nursery, a recurring sponsor of the Boiler Breakdown podcast. Schroff Landscaping has been in business for over 50 years, and they can handle all of your landscaping needs, including landscape design, maintenance, irrigation, hardscaping, fall cleanup, and they are licensed lawn applicators. Contact them today for all of your landscaping needs at 574-223-2769. Schroff Landscaping Design, with you in mind. Any other closing thoughts, guys, as we wrap this thing up?
Did we make a pick for the Minnesota game?
No, we did not. That's what I was getting into.
Okay. I was like, that's my thought.
No, I completely blanked. So thank you. I don't know what I'd do with you guys if I was hosting this by myself. It'd be a train wreck. More of a train wreck. Purdue and the Boat Boys up there. PJ Fleck, we don't know what book he's reading to his team this week.
Good Night Moon.
That's
what Purdue's going to read to him.
Purdue is a 3-point favorite. It was 2.5 yesterday, moved up to 3. First question. Do we see Rondell Moore?
Yes.
And George. and George.
I do think we see Karlaftis. I'm more confident seeing him than I am Rondell. But prediction.
I am nervous.
I'm afraid we're going to get their best effort. Even though I'm hoping they could already.
I think I am nervous. This feels like a game that kind of is, I don't know if I'm putting too much into it, but it just seems like, okay, year 4, this is kind of a game that you kind of have to have, and it's kind of a turning point to where if we don't win this one, we're back to 2-2, and then we're like, crap, are we slipping away here? I think Purdue does it, especially if Rondell plays. I think Purdue's got a little more energy, and I think Purdue wins big then, just because of that. Big. But I think Purdue's offense dominates if Rondell plays, just because everybody's kind of more confident and happy to have him out there, and it just opens up so much more.
We got to take advantage of the run game, because that's one thing Minnesota struggles heavily against the run. But
I did hear that Purdue worst rushing offense against the worst rushing defense in Minnesota this week in the Big Ten.
Something's got to give.
Yep.
I think Purdue 35, Minnesota 28.
I'll go similar. I'll go Purdue 34, Minnesota 20.
Okay.
Yeah, a little cushion there. So, but PJ's boat, we pull the plug out on his boat and it sinks to the bottom. And then he's got no books to read next week. So, well, that's going to do it for the Boiler Breakdown podcast. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Please follow us on any of the social media platforms. We're at Boiler Break Pod. Give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts if you're listening on there. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And we'll be back next week, at least with one episode, if not 2. So boiler up, hammer down, beat the Golden Gophers, and sink their boat.
Boiler up.